Welcome everyone to part 2 of this tutorial series where we're creating this Sci-Fi Mech robot in Blender. So if you haven't seen part 1, then definitely check that out. I will have a link in the description to the tutorial playlist. So this is a 10-part tutorial series where I'm going to show you step by step in real time how to create this Sci-Fi Mech robot in Blender. So in part 1 we had modeled the robot's head, and in this part we are going to be modeling the robot's neck. Just a few things I wanted to mention before we get started. If you'd like to help support me and this channel, then you can purchase the finished tutorial files on my Gumroad store and my Patreon page. I'll have the links in the description, and that's a great way to help support me and this channel. And a great way to help support me here on YouTube is by checking out the YouTube memberships. So if you click right down there on that join button next to the subscribe button, if you join my memberships, you'll be helping to support the channel monthly and you'll get some cool perks on YouTube. And if you're enjoying these tutorial videos, you can also give me a little tip by sending a super thanks underneath this video. And then one more thing before we start, this video was brought to you by my Sci-Fi Space Station Corridor Blender course. So it's a 5-part tutorial series where I show you step by step in real time how to create this Sci-Fi Space Station Corridor in Blender. If you'd like to learn more about the course, I will have the link in the description to the product on my Gumroad store and also the trailer video where you can learn more about the course. And purchasing the course is a really great way to help support me and this channel so I can keep on making Blender tutorials. Alright, so to start off with this part, I'm going to select the head object and then I'm going to press tab to go into edit mode. So we're going to start off by modeling a piece right here, kind of on the back of the robot, kind of in this little hole here. We're going to bring down a little piece for the neck. So make sure you are in edit mode, and I'm going to press Shift A, and I'm going to go right down here and let's add a cylinder. And then real quick, I need to open this up, and right here on the mirror, I need to turn off the clipping, and then that way I can press G to grab, move this out of the way, and it's not going to be connected to the mirror. I can press S to scale, and we can scale this down, and then I can just turn the clipping back on. So I'm going to bring this out a little bit, and then I'm going to press 1 on the numpad to go to the front view. And then I want to rotate this over, so I'm going to press R to rotate, and I can type in 9, 0, and enter to rotate it over by 90 degrees. And then we're going to bring this together, so let's press G to grab, and we're going to stick this together just like that and just push it into the mirror. And then I'm going to go inside this object, so just zoom in till you're inside the cylinder. And you can see there's an extra face here, and I don't want that extra face in the center. So to get rid of this, you can click right here to go to the face select, and then I can just select this face, and I'm going to press X to delete, and let's delete the faces. Alright, zoom out there, that's looking better. So I'm now going to press 1 on the numpad to go to front view again. So I want to delete half of the cylinder and then I can extrude it up. So I'm going to hold down the Z button, go into wireframe and let go of the Z button, and then I want to go to the vertex select. So you can press the 1 on the top of your keyboard or just click right here. And then I just want to select half of the cylinder and delete it. So I'm going to press B for the box select, and I'm just going to drag a box around all of these vertices, press 3 on the numpad for side view, and actually I need to press B for the box select one more row of vertices so that we've selected half of it. Then I can press X to delete, and I want to delete the vertices. Alright, so I'm now going to hover my mouse over this object and press L. That's going to select the linked vertices, and I can press G to grab, kind of bring it up here where the neck is. Also press 1 on the numpad, that's going to go to front view. I can press S to scale and G to grab. We're just going to stick this right here. And then again, press 3 on the numpad to go to side view. I can press G to grab. Let's bring this on the y-axis, just bring it over, and then I can press S to scale, and we're going to scale it down and just stick it right about there. All right, just match that up with the reference, make sure that's looking good. And look at it from both sides, so front view and side view, and that's looking pretty good. Maybe just scale it up a little bit. All right, so now I want to extrude this part up, so I'm going to press A to deselect everything. I can then press B for the box select. I'm just going to drag a box around these top vertices, and then I can press E to extrude, and then hit Z to bring it up on the Z axis, and we're going to bring it all the way up into the robot's head. Let's hold down the Z button, go back into the solid view, and I'm going to navigate right over here, and I can press G and Z and bring it all the way up into the robot's head just like that. And then I want to fill a face here, so let's hold down the Z button, go back to wireframe, and I can select this vertex vertex, hold down the shift key, select that vertex, and then also hold down the shift key and select this vertex and this vertex. And then I can hold down the Z button and go back into the solid view. So I can now press the F key, and that is going to fill a face there. And then I want to fill a face here as well. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key and just select that loop of vertices. And then I can press the F key again, that's going to fill a face there. Alright, and then I want to add some little sci-fi details, kind of like this right over here as well. So press the A key to make sure everything is deselected, and then hover your mouse over this little object here and press L, and that's going to select the linked vertices. And I can press Shift D to duplicate, and just kind of stick it up here. And then let's also scale this on the Z-axis to make it a bit longer and bring it down on the Z-axis. So stick it right about there. And then I'm also going to bring it over to the side a little bit. All right, and then I also want to add one of these bolts right there as well. So I'm going to press the A key to deselect everything, hover your mouse over this bolt and press L. That's going to select the linked vertices. I can press Shift D to duplicate this. Let's stick it here, and then G to grab. Let's bring it over. And you could use the snapping feature like we used in the previous part, but I'm just gonna stick this here manually because it's just one bolt. So I'm just gonna stick it right there, stick it there in the corner, and then press the Tab key to go back to object mode, and then use the object context menu just to shade that smooth. Alright, that is looking good. Let's press Ctrl S again to save. So now I want to create a different object, which is going to be the robot's neck. So I'm first going to select this object, I'm going to press Tab to go back into edit mode, and then what I want to do is use this object here as the base. So I'm going to press A to deselect everything, press L with your mouse hovered over this object to select the entire thing, and then I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate, and then let's hit Z to bring it down on the Z axis and just stick it down here. Now I want this to be its own object, so I'm going to press the P key, and then I'm going to click on selection. And this way it's going to separate our selection to its own object. So I can press Tab to go to object mode, select this object, and then I can press Tab to go into edit mode. Now I want to rotate this all the way around, so I'm going to press the A key to select everything, and then I can press R to rotate. Let's hit X to rotate it on the X axis, and I want to rotate it all the way around, so I can type in 180 and enter for 180 degrees. That is going to make it go all the way around. And then I can press G and Z, and I'm going to bring this up. And then I can press the 3 on the numpad to go to the side view. I can hold down the Z button, go into the wireframe view and let go. And I can press G and Z, and I'm going to bring this up here, and I'm going to match it to the reference. And something that's really important is to make sure that it is going all the way around with that circle. So if I hold down the Z button, go back into the solid view, you can see that this circle is coming up right here, and then this other circle is going down right there. And so that's important that it's matching. It's important that the end part of that half circle is about at the same spot, so that when it rotates, it's going to look correct. If you press 3 on the numpad for side view, hold down the Z button, go to wireframe, using the reference image to get it correct can be really helpful. And then I'm also going to press 1 on the numpad to go to front view, and I can press G to grab, and let's bring this out on the X axis and just stick it right over there. Now you can see that it's connecting with the mirror, and I don't want this, so what I'm going to do is turn off this clipping button. Then I can press the A key to deselect everything. I can press the B key for the box select. I'm just going to box select these vertices right here, and I can press G to grab. Let's hit X to bring them over on the X axis, and I'm going to stick them right there. So I can hold down the Z button, go back into the solid view, and you can see what we're creating. So this is going to be the neck piece, and so this piece is going to rotate. So the head piece is going to rotate right here, and this is going to be kind of like a joint. So that's good. So I can now turn back on the clipping button. Now I also want to fill a face in here, so real quick I'm going to press the Tab key to go back to object mode. I'm just going to select the head object, and then I can press the H key, and that's going to hide the head object from the view. And then select this object again, and I can press Tab to go into edit mode. So then what I want to do is select this vertex, hold down the Shift key, and select all of these other vertices, and then I can press the F key to fill that. And then I want to fill a face right here, so I'm going to hold down the Alt key and just select that ring of vertices, and then I can press the F key, and that will fill a face there. Alright, so I can press Tab to go back to object mode, and then to unhide the object that we hid, you can press Alt H. So Alt H is going to unhide any hidden objects. And then I can select select this object again and press tab to go into edit mode. And then I'm going to press A to deselect everything. And this is like way too long. So I'm going to press B for the box select, just drag a box around these vertices. And then I can press 1 on the numpad to go to front view, and I can press G to grab. Let's hit Z to bring it up on the Z axis, and I can just bring it up and stick it right there and just match it up with the reference image. So that's looking very good. And I do want this piece to go kind of down here in this circular piece, so I'm going to press G to grab and then Z and just bring it down a little bit farther, just like that. All right, now I also want to add a little bit of sci-fi details right here where the joint is. And so I want to add a new cylinder right here. So to do this, I'm going to select this vertex, hold down the shift key and select this vertex. So now what I'm going to do is hold down the shift and S button, and then I'm going to move down to the cursor to selected and then let go of the shift and S button. This way the 3D cursor is going to be in the very center here where the joint is. So now in edit mode, I can press shift A and I'm going to add a new cylinder. And that cylinder is going to be added right where the 3D cursor is. And then I don't want it to be merged with the mirror, so click on the clipping button just to turn that off. I can press S to scale, and let's just scale this down. And then once it's smaller than the mirror, you can just click on the clipping to turn that back on. So I'll press S to scale that way down. Then I can press R to rotate. Let's hit Y to rotate it on the Y axis, and to rotate it exactly over by 90 degrees, you can type in 9, 0, and then enter. So now let's press 1 on the numpad to go to front view. I can hold down the Z button, go into the wireframe, and I'm gonna scale this. So I'm gonna press S to scale. Let's scale this on the X axis and make it smaller. Click to place that. Then I can press S to scale, and let's scale this way up, and G to grab, and bring it over on the x-axis and bring it to about there. Now there is a bevel right here on this piece, so I'm going to press Ctrl R to add a loop cut. And then when the yellow line is right there, I can just left click, drag over, and then left click again to place that. Alright, so now what I can do is hold down the Alt key and just select that loop of vertices, and then I can press S to scale, and I'm going to scale these smaller, so scale that down like that, hold down the Z button, go back into the solid view, so you can see what we've done. So we've just scaled that down, and that's looking better. You can also press 3 on the numpad for side view, hold down the Z button, go into wireframe, and just make sure that aligns with the reference. So I'm going to hold down the Z button, go back into solid view. So I want to add some more details, so I'm going to press I to inset. We're just going to scale that down. And you can of course look at the reference if you want to get that exact to the reference in the wireframe view. And then I want to extrude this back, so I'm going to press E to extrude. Let's bring this back a little bit. Then I can press I again, and I is going to inset that face, and let's make it a bit smaller. And then I can press E to extrude, and let's extrude that out. Alright, just like that. And then I want to shade it smooth, so I'm going to tab to go back to object mode, and then use the object context menu and click on shade smooth. And then I can press the tab key to go back to edit mode. And then I want to have some little pieces kind of coming up here, kind of like what we did for this eye. So you can see the eye has some parts coming up here. And so I want to do pretty much the same thing here. So I'm going to click right here to go to the face select. And then I'm going to select this face, hold down the shift key, select this face. And then I want to select the other two faces which are all around. So right here, hold down the shift key and select these faces. Hold down the shift key, select these faces, and hold down the shift key and select these faces. So I now want to extrude them out. So what I'm going to do is press Ctrl F, and then I'm going to go right down here and click on Extrude Faces along normals. Then I can just bring them up and just bring your mouse up to kind of like there. Maybe bring that a little bit smaller and then place that there. And then I do want to scale them down a little bit because you can see they're coming out a little bit. So what I'm going to do right here is just make sure the transform pivot point is set to individual origins. And I can press S to scale, and they're going to scale by their own individual origins. And I can just make them a bit smaller and then place that there. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's press Ctrl S again to save the Blender file. So I now want to add another object down here, and this is going to make the neck rotate side to side. So I'll press Tab to go back to object mode, and then I'm going to hold down the Shift and S button. Let's go to Cursor to World Origin and let go of the Shift and S button. And then I can press Shift A, and we're going to go to Mesh, and I want to add a circle. And then right behind my head, you can see there's the Add Circle settings. It's down here in the corner. If you open this up, I'm just going to make sure this is at 32. 32 is great for what I'm doing. So I can close the add circle settings. So I'm going to press G to grab, and I'm going to bring this up on the Z axis, just stick it there. And then I'm going to press the tab key to go into edit mode. And I can press 1 on the numpad. We're going to go to front view, and then I can press the 1 on the numpad to go to the vertex select, and I can press S to scale, and let's scale this down. I can kind of zoom in here, and I'm going to press G and Z, and I'm going to bring this down. And then S to scale, I'm going to scale that up. And then I'm going to press E to extrude. Let's hit Z to bring it up on the Z axis and bring it all the way up there and match the reference. And then you can press the F key, and the F key is going to fill a face there. And then I want to add a little sci-fi detail here. I want to add kind of like a lip, which is going in. So to do this, I'm going to add loop cuts. So I'm going to press Control R, and then I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel up, and that is going to add 2. And then I can left click, and then I can right click so it stays back in the center there. So I'm going to press E to extrude, but then right after that, I'm going to press S to scale what we extruded. Now I don't want to scale it up and down, I just want to scale it in. So I want to remove the Z value. So I'm going to press Shift Z. This way it's going to scale it on the X and Y, but not the Z. And I'm just going to make this a bit smaller and then place it right there. And I'm just going to press 1 on the numpad for front view, just make sure it's about the same as the reference. That's looking pretty good. All right, and then I'm going to double tap the A key to select everything, and I can press Shift N because we needed to recalculate the normals. So Shift N is going to recalculate the normals. So I will press tab to go back to object mode. Now I want to give this object the same bevel modifier. So again, I want to copy the modifiers. So I'm going to select this object, hold down the shift key and select this object. I can now press Control L, and I want to go right down here and copy the modifiers. And because we selected this object last, it's going to copy the modifiers over to this object. Now you can see that the bevel modifier isn't really taking effect, and that is because we also have the mirror modifier, but I don't really want the mirror modifier because I'm just modeling both sides. So I can click on the X button on the mirror modifier. That's going to get rid of the mirror modifier. So now we don't have the overlapping vertices, and you can see now we're able to see the bevel on the object. So I can use the object context menu to shade this object smooth, and let's press Control S to save. So I'm going to press the tab key to go back into edit mode, and then I'm going to go right here to the face select. So I can now select this face, and then I'm going to press the I key, and the I key is going to inset that face. And I'm going to bring it down and make it smaller, and then just click to place it there. Then I want to extrude this back in. So I'm going to press E to extrude. We're going to bring it down here, and I'm just going to make it a bit smaller right about there and click to place that. So we just have a little bit more details in there. And then let's go right down here, and you can see that this face isn't filled. Press 1 on the top of your keyboard to go to the vertex select. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and select that loop of vertices, and then I can press the F key, and that is going to fill a face there. Now this object right here is going to be connecting to this object, so I actually want to add a different object underneath this one, and that is where the joint is actually going to be. So with this face still selected, or with these vertices still selected, I'm going to press Shift D, and then I will hit Z to bring the duplicated selection down on the Z axis and just place it there. Now I want to separate this into its own object, so I'm going to press the P button, and let's click on selection. So everything we have selected will be its own object. And then I can press tab to go back to object mode. Let's click on this object, and I can press 1 on the numpad to go to the front view, and then I can press tab to go to edit mode. So I can now press A to select everything, and then I can press S to scale, and let's scale this up. I can also press G and Z to bring it down on the Z axis, and then I can press E to extrude, bring it up on the Z axis, and just place it there, make it fit the reference. And then again, you can see we need to recalculate the normals, so let's just double tap the A key, and then I can press Shift N to recalculate the normals. So I can press the tab key to go back to object mode. So we're almost done with this part, but on this piece right here, I want to add some bolts just to give it some sci-fi details. And I also want to add some sci-fi details right up here on the head. So what I want to do is go right over here to where these bolts are. And I'm going to select this object, the head object, and I'm going to press the tab key to go to edit mode. And then just press the A key to make sure everything is deselected. So I'm going to hover my mouse over the bolt and press the L key. That's going to select all the linked vertices. And then I'm going to press Shift D. Shift D is going to duplicate the bolt, and I'm going to stick it down here. Now I want this to be its own object, so I'm going to press the P key again, and then let's click on selection. So now this is its own object. And then I can press Tab to go back to object mode. Now I want this bolt here to actually be joined up with this object. So select this object, hold down the Shift key and select this object, and then I can press Ctrl J, and that is going to join them together. So if I tab into edit mode, you can see they're joined together. So then press the A key to make sure it's deselected, and I want to select this bolt and then stick it here on the object. So I'm going to press the L key, and the L key is going to select the linked vertices, so it's going to select the bolt, and then just like we did in part 1, I can click on this button right here to turn on the snapping feature. And we already changed these settings right here, so make sure face is selected, and also make sure the center is selected, and then we also want the project onto self and align rotation to target. So I can now press G to grab, and I can bring this over, and you can see it's going to snap to these faces. So I'm going to stick this right here, put it there, then I can press Shift D to duplicate. I'm going to hit Y to bring it over on the Y axis and stick it there. All right, and then I want to put some more bolts over here. So I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate, and let's stick another bolt right there. And then navigate right over here, Shift D to duplicate. Let's bring this over on the Y axis and stick another bolt there. All right, that is good. Let's zoom out here, and I'm going to navigate over here to the front of the face. So I want to add a little sci-fi detail here. So to do this, I'm going to click right here to go to the face select, and I can just select this face. So I'm going to press Shift D, that's going to duplicate it, and we still have the snapping turned on, so let's just place it here, and then I can click on this to turn the snapping off. So I can press G to grab and S to scale. Let's bring this down, and then I can press 1 on the numpad, and that's going to go to the front view. I can hold down the Z button, go into the wireframe so I can see the reference, and I'm just going to scale this and make it fit the reference just like that. Then I can press the 3 on the numpad, that's going to go to side view. I can press G to grab. Let's bring this back on the Y-axis and stick it there. And then I can hold down the Z button and go back into the solid view. So I can now press E to extrude. We're going to extrude this face out, and I'm going to stick it inside that piece. And then I want to add another little sci-fi bit up here. So I'm going to select this face, and I want to inset the face. So I'm going to press the I key, and the I key is going to inset the face. I can make it smaller, and then I want to bring it back. So I'm going to press G to grab. Let's bring it over on the Y-axis and just bring it back a little bit. I could also press S to scale and just scale it down on the X-axis a little bit. Place it there, and then I'm going to press E to extrude, and let's just extrude this up, put it there, and then I can press S to scale, and I want to scale this on the X-axis and make it a bit smaller, like that. And then I need to hover my mouse over the object and press L to select the linked vertices, and let's press Shift N to recalculate the normals. And then I want to duplicate this piece and put it over here, so I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate, click with your mouse wheel to constrain it to the Y-axis and stick it there. And then I just want to rotate it all the way around, so I can press R to rotate. Let's hit Z to rotate it on the Z axis, and I can type in 180 to rotate it exactly over by 180 degrees, and then hit enter. Then I can press G to grab. Let's hit Y to bring it over on the Y axis and just stick it right in there. All right, so that's looking pretty good. I still want to add a few more details, but I want to add them to the other object. So let's press the Tab key to go back to object mode. I'm going to select the head object, and then I can press Tab to go to edit mode. So I'm going to navigate right over here, and I'm going to just select this face right here. So I can press Shift D to duplicate, and I'm going to bring this to the front and also bring it down. So kind of the front of the robot's neck, we're going to stick a little sci-fi detail right there. So I'm going to press G to grab, kind of bring it back here, stick it over there, maybe scale it a little bit, scale it up and bring it up a little bit. And then I can press E to extrude, E to extrude, and we're going to stick that right back there. All right, and then I want to add one more bolt kind of right here. So I'm going to navigate to the back and then press the A key to make sure everything is deselected, and then hover your mouse over this object and press L. That's going to select the linked vertices, and then I'm going to navigate right back over here so we can preview the front of the face, and then I can click on this button again to turn the snapping on. So I can now press Shift D to duplicate, and you can see that as soon as we duplicated it, it snapped it right over here, and I can just stick it right here on the front of the robot. And then I can click on this button to turn the snapping off. And then I also want to select this face right here, the bottom face, and I just want to bring it up a little bit. So I'm going to press G to grab and then Z and bring it up a little bit. And then I want to add another little sci-fi detail kind of right up here. So I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate. Let's duplicate this, and I can just kind of stick it in here, kind of stick it on the side of the robot. I can also scale this on the Y-axis and just kind of scale it out a bit. And if I press 3 on the numpad to go to side view, I can hold down the Z button, go to wireframe, and just scale it and make it fit the reference, so it's this little bit right there. Alright, scale that down a bit. Then I can press E to extrude, and let's extrude this up and just stick it inside the robot's head. So I can hold down the Z button, go back into the solid view, and that looks good. Let's also select this face right here, and then I can press 1 on the numpad to go to the front view, and I can press G to grab, click with your mouse wheel, constrain it to the X-axis, and stick that there. Alright, so let's navigate over here, and I can select this face. So I just want to duplicate this face and then bring it out. So I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate. Let's bring this over on the Y-axis, just put it about there. I can also press 3 on the numpad for side view, just make sure it's in the correct spot. And then I can press 1 on the numpad to go to front view, hold down the Z button, go into the wireframe, and I'm going to scale this down, so S to scale. Let's scale this on the X-axis and make it smaller and just kind of stick it right there. And then I can hold down the Z button, go back into the solid view, and I'm going to navigate over here, and then I can press E to extrude. Let's extrude this back into that box, and then I can press S to scale, and let's scale this on the X-axis and make it a bit longer. Alright, just like that, and then I'm also going to select this face. Let's scale this face on the X-axis and make that a bit smaller. And then double tap the A key to make sure everything is selected, and let's press Shift N to recalculate the normals. Alright, tab back into object mode, let's zoom out here, and I can press Control S to save the project. So this is going to wrap it up for part 2 of the tutorial series. So we have finished the modeling of the neck. So again, thank you so much for watching this tutorial series. I hope you've been enjoying it so far. And in part 3, we are going to be modeling the robot's body. So if you'd like to watch part 3, I'll have the link in the description when it's released, and I'll also throw it right up there on the end screen. And again, if you'd like to help support me and this channel, then some great places to do that are on my Gumroad store and Patreon page and the YouTube memberships. So I'll have the links in the video description. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in part 3.